ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Facebook group, The New Brew, proudly brings to you the Wrestling with the Remote podcast.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the live stream. Hopefully you're getting this in every place possible. Hopefully you're getting this in the Facebook group, you're getting this on Twitch, you're getting this on YouTube, you're getting this all over the place. This is the first time we have tried this, and hopefully it is working. So
getting this all over the place. I think Dustin might have been triggered on that one.
That's right.
Yes.
Take all in.
So here we go, guys. It's been a while.
Well, yeah, it's been quite a while. I had to take time out of my busy schedule of playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
So besides playing Red Dead and everyone wanting to be a cowboy, what are y'all doing? Zane, besides playing Red Dead, what are you doing?
Well, I just got my heart broke watching the Tennessee-South Carolina game. But other than that, I really haven't been doing a whole lot besides working. And I've been reading about some wrestling. I haven't watched a full episode of Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. I haven't really watched any episodes of anything except for SmackDown 1000 since Hell in a Cell. And whenever people were saying, what's going on with Roman and stuff like that last week, I have my DVR set to record every week, and I never watch it. So I was like, what's going on? So I got curious and went and watched the beginning of Raw, and it's pretty heartbreaking.
I agree.
Justin, what have you been doing?
I've just been out here in these streets trying to stack my cheddar player.
Okay, Cheat Thrills fam.
Rise and grind, hashtag.
Oh, God.
Hashtag hash browns and cheese.
That's going to be our new trend in the group now.
Yes. Okay. So...
Yeah, screw
Jacob?
you, Jacob. We don't care what you've been up to.
Jacob, what have you been up to?
Oh, okay. I didn't think he was going to get to you. I thought he was just going to skip over you.
Yeah, I know how I feel. But anyway, just same old. Training's still going good, and yeah, I've been having shoulder problems, so hopefully I'm going to get that readjusted. So
seems like it's every week you're getting banged up and training, but I mean, at least you're sticking with it. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like the Jared Garantano of wrestling.
Pretty much. But as far as I know, they said they're at least trying to get me ready for the December show, but of course that could change. I don't know yet. So.
Well, December's coming up.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Where's it going to be at? Do you got a date or anything, or where it's going to be at? Or I'm assuming it's in the Maryville area, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like in the Knoxville, Alcoa area and all that. Like if you're going down Alcoa Highway, it's kind of in that area. But I'll give you guys an update if I actually do make my debut. So.
Well, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. There's a couple big stories out there. Let's just steamroll right through them. Roman Reigns, cancer. Not a real good situation. Whether you like him or hate him, or the character at least, it's a pretty hard pill to swallow. It's kind of surreal, for someone, to come out and say, hey, I have cancer. And especially to say, I've had it, I was diagnosed with it 11 years ago. I beat it then. It's come back. It kind of feels weird, like this is an angle that Vince McMahon would try to play on us. And, that's one of the things that goes through my mind with this.
Right.
You know, like I said, whether you like him, you hate him, you got to give props where props are deserved, and he deserves a lot of props. And I've said that. I've always come out and I've said I'm not the biggest Roman fan. I'm not a hater by no means either, because I don't blame him for the way that he's pushed or anything of that nature. But, you know, he is a workhorse. He's out there as much as possible trying to entertain us, whether you want to be entertained by him or not. He's out there. Zane, what is your thoughts about the entire situation?
Man, it's heartbreaking. I mean, it's a guy that, I mean, yeah, for the past 3-4 years has been WWE's guy, and like you said, love him or hate him. Most of us did hate Roman the character, but I mean, cancer, that's a tough thing right there. And you talking about it being an angle, I thought that too, but that, if it did turn out to be an angle, that would be an angle I would never want it to be discovered was an angle, because that would blow back hard.
Right.
Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very elaborate Make-A-Wish thing that they got going on. No, but anyway, seriously, I don't think it's an angle, because as much as they're partnered up with various cancer research groups and whatnot, they stand to lose a lot of support, whatnot, from them and from sponsors, and that is on top of everything that they got going on right now, that's a type of backlash that they do not want to deal with. But as you know, as far as that goes, the first thing that really came to my mind once I found out, because I was told, I wasn't even watching Raw, I had somebody tell me about it. And once I figured out that it was in fact real, it's like it comes back to my mind all the people that were talking about wanting him to get injured so they wouldn't have to watch him on TV, as though they had no other alternatives for viewing entertainment. It's like, how shitty do you have to feel right now?
Right.
But yeah, you know, like just kind of what everybody else is kind of echoing. Not a fan of the guy's work. It is what it is, but that is terrible. Like, man has a family. That's just terrible to hear about.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take us to a religious place or anything, but in the Bible, I'm pretty sure it does say something. There's power in words, so damn.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people, you know, was wanting that. You know, like I said, I never wished ill. I've never wished ill on any wrestler, just because it is what it is. You know, there's no, you know, it's wrestling, it's a show. We're there to be entertained. You know, Jacob, you're training to be a wrestler. You're gonna step foot into all of this, where people are either gonna like you, they're gonna hate you, one way or the other. You don't really have much of a choice in how you're booked. You know, what's your thoughts on all of this?
Well, first of all, before I give my thoughts, you know, I know he's probably not going to see this, but Joe, I mean, I don't know like how to pronounce your last name, but from all of us, wish you a speedy recovery. So, but anyway, like, you know, how this dawned on me was like, you know, I told myself, nah, I ain't going to watch Raw, because I was pretty much like Zane. I wasn't going to watch till like after Hell in a Cell and all that, but like I started seeing like notifications in the group saying like, what's happening to Roman, this is heartbreaking. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? So I turned it on, and then of course that's when I saw the thing. I'll tell you what, I went back, I'll admit, I was shedding tears like the whole time, and especially with Rollins and Ambrose coming out and hugging him and all that. But anyway, like, just like what you all said, I mean, it shouldn't have been an angle and all that, because if that was, it's just like what Zane said, like, or I think it was Zane, but he said, like, if that was really an angle, it would blow up big time. And, of course, cancer is nothing to be joked about, because, you know, I've seen family die from it. I've seen friends die from it. So when it's a situation like this, I mean, there's no way that can be scripted and all that. And another thing was, Zane, I think you were the one who posted it in the group, but he said, you know, Roman finally got over, and, you know, it didn't even have to take a heel turn for him to get it over. Like, and the sad part is it had to be a real-life illness and all that. So...
Yeah, I made the comment that, you know, no matter how hard Vince has tried, it took real life to turn,
right?
To turn, pretty much, not to turn Roman face, but to get the fans to finally cheer him. You know, and I'm normally the guy that gives some backstory, some behind the scene details. And if this is your first time watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, either or. Jeremy Parker says it gives me chills when he spoke about him having cancer, and as long as people react to you, man, that's all that matters. Boos or woos, man. Being a wrestler is about the fans, and I 100 heart agree. I've never been a professional wrestler. I've done backyard wrestling. I've done shows for backyard wrestlers. I've done backyard wrestling promotions, stuff of that nature, and that's what it does. You go out there for the fans. You go out there day in, day out to provide a service, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how much you're getting in your pocket. You're in this business mainly to satisfy people that's worked hard and given the money that they've worked hard for to you, to watch you take them outside of their crappy life that they're having. They might be going through a divorce. They might be going through an illness or something like that, but they want to escape all of that, so they pay to go to this wrestling show. They pay to go see these, giants, these titans of the world, if you will, battle it out over either a strap of gold or bragging rights, and that's what it's about. It's about giving back to the fans. So, like I was saying, I'm the one that normally does like the dirt sheet stuff in the podcast if you've never listened to us before. And the story is no one knew about this. Everyone knew that he had an interview, but no one knew what it was going to be about. Vince McMahon, of course, knew. The rumor, who all knew, was Vince McMahon knew, Kevin Dunn knew, Triple H knew, and head of talent relations. And I'd say Stephanie McMahon knew as well. But Vince McMahon wasn't even at the show. Vince McMahon called. Triple H was in charge of the show that night. And, Seth and Dean didn't even know what was going to happen until Roman made the bombshell announcement. In fact, Roman Reigns stayed inside of a trailer the entire time until it was time for him to come out. And he asked for that because I guess he didn't want people to see him and realize something bad was going to happen, because he'd been taken off of the road for the weekend. And everyone was just figuring it was an injury, and they figured, oh, he's just going to come out there and talk about the injury. No one really understood how serious it was. And you could see Seth just in tears. Seth broke down. Seth and Nia Jax's, everyone took it hard, but it really hurts. Seth and Nia Jax are the ones that took it the hardest. And if my family tree is right, I believe Roman Reigns and Nia Jax are related.
They are. They're like
they always talk about something.
Yeah, they always talk about Roman being related to The Rock, and they've always talked about Nia being related to The Rock.
Yeah. So, and of course the Usos. They're related to the Usos also. They're all under that huge Samoa family tree. Which somehow Samoa Joe don't fit on there. So let's kind of go into the next area with this. Hey Taylor, what do we think about the Rollins and Ambrose match and the heel turn afterwards? I know there was some discussion back and forth on was it the right time, it was the wrong time, they should have held off. A little bit of background is that it was supposed to take place at or around SummerSlam. Or Survivor Series. I always do that. Around Survivor Series. But of course, with the Roman Reigns announcement, they had to pretty much pull the trigger on it sooner. A lot of us thought it was going to happen at SummerSlam when he came back. A lot of us thought it was going to happen then, or Hell in a Cell. Whenever he came back, everyone thought that's when he would turn.
To be honest, I was just waiting day by day for it.
Yeah.
I think it'll work.
Hey, Taylor. So, Zane, what do you think? Do you think this was the appropriate time? Do you think it wasn't the appropriate time? What's your thoughts?
I think it was really, I mean, the only time. It may have not been appropriate or ideal, but I mean, if you didn't do it now, when would you? But the what's most interesting about it to me is they won the tag titles back, and then he turned.
Yeah, it was. I think that added a new layer to it.
What I would like to see from it, just from like a, I mean, I think it would just be interesting for this to happen. Like, they go out there and defend the titles, or only one of them goes out there to defend the titles, and Seth or Dean will go for a tag or something. The other one will just leave, and they'll luck up and keep the titles by a roll up or something, and keep the titles for like a month or two, and they're trying to lose them, but they can't.
I can kind of see that. Dustin, your thoughts on? Do you think it was the right time? Do you think it's what's your thoughts on the entire turn?
Right. I mean, honestly, I feel like it was the perfect time, because I mean, they're gonna have to continue. Like, the show must go on, as they say. They're gonna keep doing shows. They're gonna keep doing angles, and they're, things like that. And I think it was a time, like, you get to the point where, with a lot of us, we think that we know everything. We think we know what's going to happen. At least I have definitely been in a situation where I felt like that. Because, like, even when I was watching that night, I turned the channel because I was like, oh, yeah, that'll be nice. They might let them win the titles, have a nice little feel-good moment or whatever to kind of, put a bandage on the situation a little bit, kind of help people heal a little bit emotionally or what have you. And then, I don't feel like anybody was really expecting it at that time. So it was like the ideal moment to kind of, shock everyone and kind of steal a little bit of the feel-good away, which is ultimately, I think, the heel's job. It's to steal the feel-good away from people, to kind of, shock them, surprise them, agitate them a little bit, what have you. As far as that goes, I think it'd be kind of cool if they had, like, if they both found respective tag team partners and they both kind of defended it with that respective tag team partner, and eventually it led up to each team facing each other. Not Roman. Dean has his partner, Seth has his partner, and then they eventually face each other, and whoever wins gets both titles, things like that.
That's a pretty cool idea. I like that one a lot better than mine.
All right, Jacob, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, it can go both ways, because, like, yeah, just like what Dustin said, and of course you also mentioned this in the group and all that, like, it was also a good time because, like, everybody was still recuperating from, the whole news about Roman Reigns and all that. And so, of course, nobody knew it was going to happen. But then, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know we've been anticipating it for weeks, and of course we got nothing all those weeks and all that. And just like what Dustin said, like, with Dean getting so much heel heat that night, like, everybody was just in shock. They were like, what the hell are you doing? After that moment they had on the stage and all that. So there's my part on that. But, like, at the same time, I also felt like it kind of wasn't really a good time because, Roman coming out and, spreading the news and all that. And, of course, all three of them embracing on the stage, like, with that being, like, a legit real moment and all that. So, there's my thoughts on that. But as far as the tag titles and all of that, the way I see it, it could kind of be like, X-Pac and Kane and all that, when they won the titles, but they still face each other and all that. But, I mean, I really have no thoughts on, like, how it would go and all that, but it is being rumored that, one of them is going to be receiving a different partner and all that. But of course,
I think Dean and Lou will team up.
Dean and who?
Dean and Lou.
Who's Lou?
Leukemia.
I knew where you were going.
Oh my gosh.
I was going, and I was waiting for it, and the payoff.
Too soon.
Taylor says Nicholas's return is confirmed. Someone's gonna get these small hands.
But yeah, that's just my thoughts on the whole thing.
So I gotta try to get my composure back. My thought process on this entire situation is that I think it was the perfect time. I don't think it was because
Ain't no time like the present.
well, the thing is, we've all anticipated it. We all knew it was coming. We were all, like you said, Zane, day by day, week by week by week, we was expecting it to happen. But we all would have cheered for that moment. Tell me you wouldn't have cheered. Tell me we're like, yeah, he finally get you snap. Yeah, he's actually going into the full what we want him to be. Yeah. You're not supposed, I've had this discussion with, I think, each one of y'all at some point. You're not supposed to cheer the heels. You're supposed to boo them. This right here was the prime time, the prime opportunity to turn somebody and have them be a heel. Because even when they turned freaking Braun Strowman heel and have him align with Drew and Dolph, no one really booed him. Everyone's like, hey, he's still going up against Roman, so we don't like Roman, so let's just cheer. It doesn't matter. We're just going to cheer him. This right here was, everyone was expecting him to not turn at this tonight. Everyone knew it was going to be a very somber night. It was one of those nights where, Roman Reigns was still in the back of your mind. Going into this match, and they're saying, hey, we're going to do it for Roman, which makes it even better. And because there's so many ways that they could twist this for Rollins' or not Rollins, but Ambrose's turn. Like, we did this for, we won these titles, we dedicated it to Roman. This was, everyone had Roman on their minds, but what about me? What about me doing what I needed to do? What about me winning the titles? What about me coming back? It's always been about the Shield. It's always been about you two. It's never, I've always been in the background. Why? I want to be in the foreground. I'm the first out of all of us to be a Grand Slam champion. Why am I the one always being held back? I mean, there's so many folds, so much depth to the story now, especially to his character with this turn. So I completely agree that this turn was perfect. It could not have been handled better. I mean, nobody saw it coming. He got booed out of the building. It was perfect. And if he plays, and as much as I don't want them to bring this into the fold, but they kind of really need to, because once everything settles down, people are going to cheer him again. He needs to remind everyone, hey, leukemia took Roman out. I took Seth out.
Right.
I mean, he needs to play off of that. They need to play off the Roman leukemia situation to keep things fresh, in my opinion.
Right. And,
like Dustin.
And if I can interrupt y'all for a second, I mean, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I think I was also the one who brought that up, asking like everybody, like, how do you think Ambrose is going to explain his turn? I mean, yeah, you explained it pretty perfect and all that. And another thing, like I wrote down, is like, basically like the Shield is not basically who they are anymore, because you had them come in red hot debut. They were basically like the mercenaries of WWE and all that. But of course, you had the only two times they reformed, it was only to keep Roman strong, and of course trying to keep the belt on him at all costs and all that. But now that Roman's gone, what do they have to do next?
Right. What are they going to do? They're going to recruit Angle back into the mix? I mean,
or Triple H.
Yeah. Taylor says
Triple H is in too many groups right now.
Taylor says, I think Seth needs J&J security.
Oh yes, I agree.
Or corporate
Bring back the authority.
He's basically mayor.
Now, I realize that this happens in his personal life, but if you think about it, what's going to happen is that Ambrose is going to be a heel against a guy who cheated on his wife with a Nazi. Like,
what?
Just let that sit in for a minute. You remember that?
Oh, you talking about that Zaraba or
Yep. Schreiber, some shit.
Oh, yeah,
she's dating. She's dating. Oh man, what's her name? She's bisexual or whatever.
She was in NXT, and I remember
or something like that.
Seth sent her a picture on Instagram or something, but he didn't send it to her. He accidentally put it public, and that's how everyone found out that he was cheating on his, at the time, girlfriend. and she came out with,
up there.
yeah, and she had came out to be like somewhat of like a Nazi, or Taylor says room 609.
She had tattoos that were like affiliated with
yeah,
or represented.
Yeah, I don't remember the story completely, but I do vaguely remember the story.
But last time I checked, Sonya Deville was dating her, that Zariah chick.
Whoa.
And this has been probably 6 months ago.
Wow.
But yeah, like another quick thing, I'm sorry I keep interrupting y'all, but another thing I noticed is like, right as soon as the heel turn happened, I mean, you could tell Dean got emotional, like he didn't even want to do it at all. So I just found that intriguing. So
the thing is with that is it's with Dean. Dean is such a good actor. It's so hard to tell if he was acting the role or if it was really getting to him, because maybe this was his way of saying, hey, this is the only way I can get out of everyone's shadow. And he didn't want to do that. But, I mean, you're right about the whole Shield thing. Like, when the Shield first came in, they were red hot because no one expected it. No one knew who they were. I didn't know who they were. NXT was nowhere near as big as it is now back then when they debuted. So
I think it was only on WWE.com or something back then, wasn't it?
I think it was it. I couldn't remember if it was on that or if it was on the net. It's still only on the network, but
No, there was no network then.
It didn't come out till like 2014, I don't think. So.
Yeah, and the Shield's been in there since 12 or 13.
12, I think. Yeah.
I mean, it's been like one crazy ride after another with the Shield, because every time that they've tried to reform, the first time that they tried to reform, Roman got sick. Roman got sick with like the measles or something like that. So it was SummerSlam, I believe it was, and Kurt Angle it wasn't SummerSlam, it was like TLC or something, and Kurt Angle had to step in. This time around they reform, and guess what happens? Roman gets cancer. His cancer comes back, so he's back out. So there goes the thing again. And I think I don't want to stray too much off topic, but while we're talking about the Shield, I think if they would have just turned them heel, I think it would have been like 1,000 times better. But you couldn't have turned them heel, because if you would have, that's what everybody wanted, and they would have gotten cheered out of the freaking building. Instead of booed, everyone would have been like so excited. But then again, at the same time, you have Braun Strowman that was red hot too. So I mean, it's a very thin line, because today's fans are nowhere near like they were 20 or 30 years ago. They didn't go with the story like they don't go with the story now like they did 20 or 30 years ago. 20 or 30 years ago, Vince McMahon or whoever could lead the fans to cheer or boo a certain character or a certain wrestler. Now they just do what they want to do. It's really hard to get them to go with the story you want to tell. Talking about stories that we want to tell and stories that we don't want to tell, as well as far as Ambrose and as well as Roman Reigns, let's jump into the other huge big story, because this kind of leads into that. So is it next? I don't remember if it's next week or the week after. This Sunday, tomorrow night, this Sunday, of course, is the huge all-women's pay-per-view Evolution. But in 2 weeks' time, if I'm not mistaken, in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, WWE is holding, of course, an all-male pay-per-view called Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia.
I think they're at next Friday. So.
It's either next Friday or Saturday.
It's Friday their time.
Okay.
Because how Christians observe Sunday as the day of prayer and and praise and whatnot, and the quote unquote Sabbath. In those countries, I think they do it on a Saturday, so they would have to hold the show on a Sunday or on a Friday.
What time will the show be in our time?
I think it'll probably be like maybe around 11ish, noon, maybe.
On Saturday?
Taylor says Friday here, like 3 o'clock or something.
Oh,
Okay.
So thank you, Taylor, with the assist over the air. High five. I'm glad my camera's not turned on and y'all couldn't see that. So, if you don't know what the big thing is about it is, there's a lot of different stories into this story. One where WWE is trying to say, hey, we're progressive. We are all about our women now. We want them to be equal like men, so we gave them their own pay-per-view that's only them, even though you do have Michael Cole being there. Then you turn right around and you have this event in Saudi Arabia that don't even allow women to participate. They're not allowed to show at all at the event. In fact, last time that they had it, the Greatest Royal Rumble, they showed an ad, and it had women in the ad, and they got in a lot of trouble for it. So that's one part of it. The other part is more global. If you're not aware of the news, a Wall Street journalist, I don't know his name, I'm not even going to try to say his name, he was very, very outspoken about the Saudi Arabia regime, the current regime. So when he was in Turkey, he went to the consulate, the Saudi Arabia consulate there in Turkey, to get papers so him and his fiance could get married. I believe he was also of Saudi Arabia descent, if not from the country to begin with. But he's very outspoken, a journalist for Wall Street Journal, very outspoken in his columns and everything of that nature about the country in the current regime. So they had 9 men. Saudi Arabia had 9 men go into the consulate and murder them. Not only murder them, but
they beheaded him, didn't they?
They did more than just behead him. They completely cut away his body parts. So they, cut off his arms, his legs, the whole 9 yards. They dismembered him, and they found it. They found it in some garden. They found his body parts in some garden. So at first they denied any involvement. Saudi Arabia denied any involvement, and then they came back and say, "Well, no, we killed him, or it wasn't premeditated. There was a scuffle that broke out, and he ended up getting strangled." And then they came out and they finally said, "Yeah, we had planned on doing it." So there's a lot of heat from local, state, and federal statesmen, if you will, politicians about Saudi Arabia, and there's been a lot of big businesses that have cut ties with Saudi Arabia, and now the media and Congress and stuff have called upon WWE to pull out of their contract agreements with them. And of course, that's not what's going to happen. John Cena has John Cena's not going to be at the show. He's saying that he's not going to be there. He's refusing the show. Word is Daniel Bryan's done the same thing. And in truth be told, Daniel Bryan and John Cena are the only ones with big enough pull that can do that and get away with it without having any consequences bestowed upon them. So Roman Reigns is injured now. John Cena is out. Both of them had big matches. You have Bobby Lashley that's injured. Of course, none of the women's going to be there. You have the possibility of Daniel Bryan not showing up because of his possibility of his refusal to participate in any match. Which that's the WWE Championship. Well, where do you go from here? What do you do? Zane, what is your thoughts on this entire situation?
I think WWE should have pulled out of it. I'm boycotting the Crown Royal event, but I mean, technically, I've been boycotting WWE for a while now, anyways. But yeah, this whole thing is ridiculous. Vince is just Vince. It's just proven he's. I can't even think of the words to describe WWE's logic. I mean, to praise and empower women and then turn around and go to a country like Saudi Arabia mere days later. I mean, it's just ass backwards to me.
Yeah.
Dustin, what's your thoughts?
Well, the thing about it is, like, we just got done talking about what happened with Roman and whatnot. When you deal with that, it's a matter of taste and handling things in the right way, tastefully, classy way. And like, I understand that viral marketing is kind of the whole big thing right now, but I got to say, this is really just a distasteful way to hype the return of Muhammad Hassan. Like, this is just too much.
Taylor had just said that Muhammad Hassan versus AJ Styles.
He'll win with the camel clutch. No, but honestly, my opinion, I just think it's really just a shitty thing for them to do. Like, it speaks more of what's really important to them, and it's money. They have, I don't know if it's actually true or not, but I have seen sources that are saying that TV deal that they have now with Fox, I believe it is worth upwards of $1 billion. So they don't really need the money, but they're looking to make quite a bit, couple million in Saudi Arabia if they go through with that show. And they have spoken as to what matters most to them. It's about turning a profit. And honestly, I think that really is all it is to them, even when they try to promote themselves as being progressive and caring about female empowerment and all that spiel. They're just trying to appeal to the feminist demographic, or, like, capitalize on the times now, because feminism and equality is so popular now. There's a bigger push now than there has been in the past. It's lucrative for them. That's why Stephanie gets the credit for where women's wrestling is now. Stephanie she's not training those women how to wrestle. She's not really deciding who they pick to bring, that's, and if they actually cared about that, they would have other people at the forefront. They would have the actual talent. But pretty much everything they do, even the charitable work, they can't do any charitable efforts without there being a camera crew around them, throwing it on Twitter, YouTube, and on television. Essentially, all it is they just want to turn a buck at anybody's expense, and at any type of efforts that they do. That's all it's about. They're just kind of very disingenuous people that only care about profit, and it's really hard. In addition to the quality of product that they've been putting out, it's really hard to support them right now, because you got fucking right now. If you look at it, I think they have AJ in the main event. He's one of the main events. Yep. And it's like, okay, so you have somebody who has kind of been homophobic out there in one of the main events. You're bringing back Hulk Hogan for the show, which what he's said in the past, and you're not letting women on the show. It's like, this looks really great from a PR standpoint for you guys.
Right.
Jacob, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, kind of like all those things that Zane and Dustin had just said. Like the thing is, for me, like, the second I heard that or saw that Baron Corbin said this is going to happen at our next event at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, I was like, really? That's the only name you can come up with? And, like, of course, there's only going to be like 4 matches in that match anyway, because of course you had the World Cup, you've had the Universal title match, you've had the WWE Championship match, and then of course you got DX and the Brothers of Destruction. Of course, pretty much the only match I'm pretty sure everybody wanted to see was the WWE Championship match, only because first of all, like, now with Roman Reigns out, if Brock Lesnar wins the title again, it's just going to make the title not relevant again. Everybody's going to forget there's a Universal title now. And I think Zayn was the one who brought it up that if Lesnar does win, then it's going to be more than likely he's going to carry it into the Octagon and all that. And of course, Brothers of Destruction, DX, nobody really wants to see that match anymore. Like, if that happened like 10 to 20 years ago, maybe, of course, everybody would have been pumped up to see it. But you got these guys, like, pretty much in their 50s, out of their prime and all that. So, basically it's time for these new stars to shine. And, of course, the World Cup, you basically had All-Americans win that. So, just like...
It is All-Americans.
Yeah.
Well, not really. I mean, you have...
You better not say Rey Mysterio, because he was born in America.
Yeah.
But he's from...
Don't tell the GL.
But he's from, like, his descent,
San Diego.
You know, he's from San Diego, but his descent though is
It's Mexican or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
it's Hispanic.
But anyway, just like what Rusev said, you know, why not just call it the U.S. Open anyway? You know, but yeah, just like what these guys said, you know, like at the end of the day, like it does make WWE look like a shitty company and all that, because just like what Dustin and Zane said, you know, it's all about money now. Like, and you know, like you've had all these women like work so hard to get women's wrestling where it was, because we talked about this in a different podcast before. You know, women's matches used to be, you know, just piss break matches and all that. Like, it wasn't even relevant. And then, of course, you had the whole women's revolution, and, like, everybody wanted to turn in. So to see them as far as they come from having piss break matches, they have only last, like, what, maybe less than a minute, to now having, like, at least 5 to 10 minute matches and a lot of good 5-star review matches and all that. And to see them finally have their own pay-per-view and all that, you know, it really is, like, degrading, because, like, now you got to take it to a country where women aren't even allowed and all that. And, of course, with the employee safety and all that, because basically in this day and age, like, you know, with this whole war thing going on and all that, you never know what can happen to any of those guys.
Taylor says Billy and Chuck versus AJ Styles with Muhammad Hassan as special guest referee for the Universal LGBTQ Championship.
Only if Rico's the manager.
Wow.
But so, I'm curious to see how they're going to empower the women's evolution after the Saudi Arabia event, because you know they're going to be blowing smoke up their ass just because of that.
Yeah.
So
and
this right now, I hate to interrupt, but while we're talking about Crown Jewel, these are the matches that are currently advertised that CBS of all people are advertising. You have Triple H and Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker and Kane, the Universal Championship, Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. So obviously it is somewhat up to date. WWE Championship, AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. The SmackDown Tag Team Championship, The Bar versus The New Day. And the WWE World Cup, which until probably this Monday, it's not going to change. It's not going to show any change, because they'll find a way to write John Cena off. So until that happens, we have to just assume that John Cena is still in the World Cup. We have John Cena, Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, and Rey Mysterio.
Right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 matches, and then 1, 2.
How's the World Cup supposed to work?
Yeah, I was asking that. Like, is it supposed to be like a gauntlet match or a battle royal, or like a like a tournament?
This is what it's showing. And this is, like I said, this is from CBS. It says, we are still awaiting information about how this will be formatted, but it appears to be a bracket-style single-elimination tournament akin to the old King of the Ring that will place entirely on the show. Scattered.
Damn, it's going to be like a 5-hour event, ain't it?
From what it seems like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit. So this is a huge money deal. This isn't like, we're not talking about a couple mil. We're talking about 20 million over the course of 10 years. And I totally agree with all of your sentiments. Each one of y'all make valid points. This really does look bad on a PR standpoint for WWE, because it's like, you have all this going on. You know, you're saying that you're putting women on this platform, but you're taking that platform away from them altogether, and stuff of that nature. But at the same time, you need to look at it this way. WWE is a publicly traded company. While the McMahons own the voting share of the stock, they are still a publicly owned traded company in the stock market. Of course, the stock has dropped. It was just a few weeks ago. It was $91 per share. Now it's dropped down to, I think, to like $70 or $60 per share. Since they're going ahead, with the show. But if they was to completely pull out of the show, and they would lose all that revenue that they would get for the show, then stocks would plummet even further. So it's not just Vince McMahon saying money, or whatever. They have a board they have to answer to. They have stockholders they have to answer to. There's a lot of cogs in that machine now that we didn't see back in the mid to early 90s. So from like a corporate standpoint, I can actually legit see why they would go forward with it, because it would be more financially backbreaking for them to pull out than the PR nightmare that's going to blow over in just a couple of weeks afterwards. Because in a couple of weeks, no one's going to think about the show. No one's going to remember the show.
That's why I'm saying they're going to empower the women after. That's why I was trying to say after the Saudi Arabia show, they're going to try to make it all like putting a Band-Aid on it, like Dustin referred to earlier with the Dean and Seth winning tag titles. They're going to try to put a Band-Aid over it by empowering, coming up with some other idea for the women heading into Survivor Series.
Right. If you noticed, they took off all mentions of Saudi Arabia. Every time that they presented the Crown Jewel, it's like the Crown Jewel streaming on the WWE Network. They didn't say nothing about Saudi Arabia on Monday or Tuesday. I was wondering. That was one of the reasons why I kept tuning in. Was I didn't really tune in, but I kind of just wanted to know, were they going to say something about it? Were they going to say, hey, yeah, the Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, or if they were just going to drop it all together? There was like a lot of things that was up in the air at the point. But do I blame John Cena for pulling out and Daniel Bryan for pulling out of the show? Do I blame them? Do I think bad of them? Which way do I fall? I think they're just as bad as WWE, especially John Cena, where we all think bad for WWE for going to the show. I think it's bad for John Cena saying he's not going to appear at the show, because he's not doing it for a moral high ground. Regardless of what anyone thinks, that's not what he's doing. He's doing it so he can keep his job outside of WWE. He's doing it so his PR for his acting career doesn't tank. Because imagine how, who's going to really want to hire him, because, whether you lean left or lean right, whether you're Republican or Democrat, I think it's a pretty safe thing to say that most of Hollywood is left. They lean left. And for you to say, yeah, I'm going to this show, a lot of people that lean left are going to be like, why are you going to this show? You should be standard, you have this platform, you need to stand up on this platform and say, no, I'm not doing it. It would really make John Cena look really bad in the eyes of Hollywood if he went to this show. So he's trying to save face by not going. And I think that's just as bad as it is for WWE going. Does that make sense?
Brian?
Yeah, Daniel Bryan could kind of swing either way. It could be a moral high ground. It could be a PR. It's probably a little bit of both.
I don't think it would be PR for him. For Daniel Bryan, it swings two ways. He's either doing it for himself or he's doing it because of his wife. Simple as that.
Damn story.
For a guy that says that he loves wrestling and that he wants to wrestle on the biggest stages of the world, he wants to bring wrestling to different places in the world. This right here is a prime example of, hey, why not try to introduce a little bit more of American culture into the Middle East? Why not try to open their eyes, say, hey, this is what we have to offer. Look how progressive we are. Why don't you try to be like us?
Last time they were there is when he come back from retirement, wasn't it?
No,
and he was in that.
No. He came back. He came back from retirement at WrestleMania. The greatest. Yeah, WrestleMania was before the Greatest Royal Rumble. Now he was in the Greatest Royal Rumble, but he came out of retirement for WrestleMania. So, which was before the first Saudi Arabia bit. So, and this is another thing that I see it as.
No, the Greatest Royal Rumble was after WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay, yeah, okay. I got it mixed up then.
Yeah. So, while it was after while the greatest Royal Rumble was after WrestleMania, the way that I see it is this. And you can call me a corporate sellout or anything that you want to see, but what better way to open up a country's eyes onto what another country has to offer than to show them what we have to offer? North Korea,
I don't think it's about opening in their eyes, though. I don't think he's trying to.
It's I mean, it's not. I'm not saying that's the whole reason behind
They
it.
can say that. They can say that to kind of cover their ass, but that's.
Let's be frank here. What it is it's a PR stunt for Saudi Arabia to say, hey, look how progressive we are. Yet at the same time, you can't really say that when you kill somebody who spoke out about you. But I mean, if you take that away, if you want to look at it this way, it's like the way I see it is this: you're putting on this all women's pay-per-view, right?
Right.
Where do you think the money's going to come from for this?
Saudi Arabia.
Who do you think's going to end up, really paying the talent for that show? The Saudi Arabia. Who's paying the talent, putting food on the table? Well, not really us, because you think your $10 a month is really feeding AJ Styles' 4 kids.
Yeah, but $10 a month from millions of people, though.
Right, it's not though. It's like maybe 600,000.
For $10 a day, you can help feed it.
Oh man, that's great.
That was awesome.
I mean, it's not just the $10 a month though, too. It's the tickets you buy, it's the merchandise you buy.
Right, but my point is this though: they're getting a bigger payday out. They're not only are they getting a bigger payday from it, they're getting another payday for it.
Right.
I don't know if that's true though. If they're signed to annual contracts, they're getting paid about the same anyway, aren't they?
No, they get bonuses per event. Like this would be considered a special event. Like when you sign a contract, you sign for a certain amount of dates to work.
True.
And some of those dates, like WrestleMania, you get a bigger payoff to wrestle WrestleMania. You get a bigger payoff to wrestle SummerSlam. You get a bigger payoff to if you're on these shows, these pay-per-views as they call them, or special events, you get a bigger payout for these shows. You get more on the back end. So they are getting more for these, and that's freaking Heath Slater, he has kids. I mean, he needs all the money he can get. So, for $10 a day, for $10 a month, you can feed Keith's kids and AJ's kids and help pay for
why
John
didn't
Cena's
WWE
cars.
do that? Oh my god.
Just like a 20-second clip of like Brie Bella looking sad in the cage.
Have a lie singing in the arms.
Hi, I'm White Lady.
Oh, man. But yeah, like if Daniel Bryan ain't in the match, what do you like? Who do y'all think AJ's gonna face in the match? I'm pretty sure like Miz is gonna find a way to like jump into the match because of course Daniel Bryan and Miz had the match at Super Showdown. Miz is gonna be saying like my shoulder was up, blah blah blah, and all that.
Well, the smart route will be whoever wins the World Cup.
Yep, that's what I'm gonna say is the smart route. Because in truth be told, what they should have done was whoever won.
Did you just say R-Truth?
No, I wish. I was watching this match that he had with Nakamura, and I was thinking how awesome would it have been if he would have like clotheslined him over the top rope and was like celebrating like he actually won the match, because that's his gimmick. That's the gimmick that he has, where he like is completely oblivious on what he's actually doing. So yeah.
He doesn't get the appreciation he deserves.
No. But
I like him a lot better, like in his heel run in like 2011 or something like that.
The little Jimmy.
Yeah. And the whole, oh, what me?
Yeah. But I mean, the smart route to do was whoever won, instead of having it like SmackDown versus Raw, have the two brackets. Whoever won the Raw side get inserted into the Raw Championship, the Universal Championship, which, let's face it, unless it's John Cena, they're going to get destroyed, whoever it is, because you got Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar, two of the most, besides Roman Reigns, these two are the most, protected guys in the company.
Yeah.
And then the SmackDown, whoever won the SmackDown, they needed, what they need to do is they need to do a pre-tape recorded of Daniel Bryan getting injured before they go to Saudi Arabia, and then air that at Saudi Arabia, make it act like that actually happened at the show. So now they're like, well, whoever wins now gets inputted into this match. Now that they they earned a shot at the title. That would be the smart plan to do.
Well, I'd say even now, since they got the Universal Championship set, if it's a Raw guy that wins the World Cup, let him fight for the World Wrestling Entertainment Championship. I mean, it is the World Cup.
Taylor says Shockmaster. Also, Mizdow versus AJ Styles would make me watch Crown Jewel or Jewel singing the Saudi Arabian national anthem. Hey, I love Jewel. I was a fan of hers back in the day when she still lived in her fucking car. She was an awesome singer back in the day. If you don't know who Jewel is, she's like a pop singer now. I forgot who she's married to, but she was kind of big in the late 90s, early 2000s. Anyways, I'll replay into all of what Taylor had said in the chat.
Former Raw guest host, Jewel.
Yeah. But that's how I would see. So we have 4 minutes left before the end of the hour. I kind of did it on purpose to prove a point. We didn't talk about Evolution because WWE didn't really talk about Evolution. I mean, Raw and SmackDown was the two go-home shows, and hardly anything was said about Evolution.
Yeah.
Well, the truth about Evolution is Triple H was never able to beat Batista. Oh, was y'all talking about something else? Oh, my bad.
See, that was part of it. Like, no one really, for as much as they want to try to give women credit now and say, hey, we care about the women's division.
They throw really stupid matches up.
And they throw the same matches up too.
Yeah.
Well, what you see on SmackDown, pretty much. So.
But I mean, the NXT women are going to be there, so that's a plus.
Yeah. But
yeah, that's.
So, quick fire. We're going to take it back a few steps, a few stories back. Who takes Roman's place as the top guy in WWE? Because we all know it's not there. Vince isn't going to book it like it was in the late 90s where you have a lot of top stars. He's focusing one person, for the company to go around. And if you could try to not beat off to my voice, I would really appreciate that.
What?
I don't know. It sounds like someone's outside. It sounds like someone's beating it off or whatever.
Is there any other way to beat off?
Well,
let's just say it's a good way to introduce yourself to the neighbors.
Yes. The Wolf of Wall Street, where he pulls out. Dude's so freaking stoned. He's right there in the middle of the party, just whacking it.
I prefer to do it behind a potted plant.
Or in the if any of y'all have watched Big Mouth in the pool house to your best friend's sister's bathing suit. So who do you think is going to take the place of Roman Reigns as far as the overprotective face of the company? Zane first.
Man, I mean, the quick answer would be Braun Strowman, but they've also got a bunch of guys in NXT that are ripe for calling up. They've got Aleister Black, I'm sure, is getting ready to come up. That could be your good baby face. EC3. I know Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and are kind of on the smaller side. What I'd like to see is Velveteen Dream, but that's going to be a long shot right now, especially since he's a heel. So I'm going to go with Braun Strowman or Aleister Black, but more or less probably Braun Strowman.
All right. Dustin?
Well, I mean, we talked about him before. He's coming back at Crown Jewel. You guys ready for the gritty reboot of Hulk Hogan?
Oh my God!
Hulk Hogan's coming back. It's time. If not Hulk Hogan, I'm probably just gonna keep going with Braun. I mean, he's already proven that he can work as a good face. If you want to look for just outside the box ideas, they do. If they want to really just fucking put a rocket ship to the guy, they do have Matt Riddle under contract, and he is a legitimate fighter. So they have that they can throw behind. So I mean, maybe, but probably just Braun.
Before I get to Jacob, Taylor said about the Evolution pay-per-view, 25 women, 50 boobs, I'm going to watch.
He needs to get in on a podcast.
He needs to join us next time.
I feel like it's a bit offensive that they're sponsored by cleaning products exclusively.
What, no sandwich making products? I mean, they need to be making my sandwiches.
Well, Ziploc, but
they won't do it.
All right, Jacob, your thoughts on who you see?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably going to be Braun Strowman because, last couple of years, he's been red hot. Everybody's wanting to tune in to see him and all that, see what big, powerful thing he's going to do. And, of course, he got himself over with the crowd, and everybody's already chanting, get these hands, blah, 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 and all that. So, and, of course, Vince, he loves big, sweaty guys. So.
Oh, don't forget about Drew McIntyre. I mean, it wouldn't be nothing for him to turn face.
Right. Here's the thing. It's really hard for me to say this person or that person. Braun has already been protective like that, so it wouldn't be nothing for them to slide Braun into Roman's shoes. In fact, Braun is going to get a better treatment and a better reaction from the fans than Roman ever did. Of course, when Roman comes back, it's going to be probably the loudest pop that if Roman comes back, because I want to be pessimistic. I want to say he's going to come back. He's going to beat this. The odds are the chance of survival of coming back from cancer, from a second fight from it, your odds aren't as good as your first. We don't know what stage she's actually in. Hopefully they caught it pretty early. But, let's be real. And this is the reason why this kind of falls into that category. This question falls into this category is because and that's how I phrased it in the group is, what do if Roman don't come back, if cancer does win this time, if Roman can't win the fight, who would you want to see? But taking that aside, Roman comes back, he's going to get the biggest pop. That even when Triple H came back from his quad injury, that is going to be nothing compared to the pop that Roman's going to get coming back from cancer. You want to you don't need to do anything anymore. All you need to do is just have him come out and say, I beat Brock's ass, I beat Braun's ass, I've beat Triple H's ass, I've beat Cancer's ass. I can beat anybody. And pop, 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 pop. I mean, it's going to be... I would love to be in the audience if that gets to happen. But in the instance that doesn't get to happen, you already have an established face in Braun. Braun is going to get you the reactions that you want to get as a face. Not as a heel, because nobody wants to see Braun as a heel. Everyone wants to cheer Braun. Like, no one wants to see Becky Lynch as a heel. Everybody cheers her, even though the story that they're trying to tell, Becky Lynch is supposed to be the heel. We don't see that from the fans.
Right.
The other, I would like to say, I would be able to see Drew McIntyre if he wasn't a prior star before coming back. If you get my drift, if he was brand new, I could see them doing that. But he was people are going to remember his failed run as when he was supposed to be the chosen one, which I would love for them to bring that music back. Back when he was part of 3-man band with freaking Heath Slater and Don't Hinder the Gender Muhammad. Or not Gender Muhammad. Yeah. You know, when you, that's, you know, he has that baggage. I don't want to say bring anyone up from NXT because that's a bad idea. I don't think no one from NXT is ready for a Roman treatment. And I don't think the fans really want to see anyone from NXT given a Roman treatment where they're constantly shoved down our throat constantly like Roman was. Braun, we don't mind because we love Braun. Because Braun does ungodly things to people. He freaking gets a damn grappling hook that's legit and freaking brings an entire set down on 2 people. I mean, who gets cheered for that? Who gets cheered for flipping freaking semi-trucks and ambulances and freaking coming out of garbage compactors? I mean, the most stupid crap he's getting freaking cheered for when he's out there playing a freaking bass, for crying out loud, and he's getting cheered for it.
I think we need to stop looking at face and heel as there's a line in between it. And I think we should look at it more like it's on a spectrum or something.
Yeah.
And Taylor says this, and he says 2 things. Both things would awesomely be great. One, have Kenny Omega come into WWE and have him take over the Shield. And then, but I don't like the way.
If Kenny Omega was to come to WWE, now would be the perfect time to do it.
Well, and here's the thing. Well, their contracts are all up at the end of the month or at the end of the year, and New Japan, the backstage working environment is not ideal. That's the reason why no one truly knows where the Bullet Club's going to go. The rumor is that they're all going to go to WWE. His other thing, which I would completely agree with this, have Roman Reigns come back. If he comes back, let him get his pop and then instantly turn him heel and say, I beat cancer. None of you were there with me. I did it on my own. I did it twice. I didn't.
Well, if he's going to say that, they better not have no video packages of everybody coming to see him and shit.
Right.
Well,
right.
yeah, that's
but to have him turn heel instantly from coming back, I mean, that would be the best thing to do. But honestly, Braun Strowman's the guy. I see them putting the title on Brock. I don't see them putting the title on Braun. I see Drew McIntyre costing Braun the championship. They putting the championship on Brock just for the whole UFC thing and him being hopefully he'll be a dual champion is what they're going for.
See, what I was saying is if Crown Jewel was after the UFC 203 event, I think it's a Saturday night, the night after Crown Jewel event. It's Derek Lewis and Daniel Cormier. Derek Lewis is a big guy. He's about the size of Brock, but if Brock fought him, I'm pretty sure Brock would beat him because he would just wear his ass out wrestling him on the ground. I don't know. If you look at it, you would say, yeah, Brock Lesnar would destroy Daniel Cormier because of the size difference. But Daniel Cormier is no slouch. So that's why I was wondering if they was going to push it back to after that, but to see what better chance they would get for a matchup with Brock against DC or Derek Lewis. Yeah. Anyways, I know that was random, but
it's not. I mean, it fits the whole story. It fits the whole, what they're trying to tell. And you got to think that if they put the title on Brock, what they're going for is for Brock to be a dual champion, which would legitimize WWE even more. And that's kind of what they're wanting to do. They want to get the WWE in more, eyes and stuff of that nature. So I can see that happening. So, but
as much as I hate Brock being champion because you never see the title, I'm all for the WWE Championship to make an appearance at UFC. I mean, that's just cool.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. If you're not watching this on our Facebook channel, I urge you to go to the New Brood on Facebook. We are, of course, a wrestling group, a wrestling party, if you will. And, of course, this is our podcast that we host. Try to host it every Saturday. a lot of times we don't, here as of late we haven't been able to, but we try. There for a while it was very regular. We are of course called the Wrestling with the Remote podcast. If you are looking for our group, we are a private group. You would know us by our display picture, or our banner, which would be the Shield reuniting for a fist bump after Roman gave his heartfelt speech on his leukemia battle that he's about to go forward. There is questions you're gonna have to answer to get in. A moderator will get with you as soon as they can to let you in. So we are a rowdy group, just giving you a heads up. What you've heard tonight is just a small snippet of what the group normally is. But yeah, please, look for us there. Also, YouTube, the New Brood, or the Wrestling with the Remote on YouTube. Yep.
Yeah,
also,
we changed the name, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. If you're on Twitch, you already know where you're at. So please subscribe. Please follow us. Same with YouTube. Subscribe, follow us, give us a like. For all of us here at the Wrestling with the Remote podcast, and it goes out to also the New Brood, we want to wish, Roman Reigns a healthy and speedy recovery. Hopefully he can battle this, come out, on top. Cancer, my grandfather died of cancer. My aunt died of cancer. So it's, family, cancer does run in my family. So it is no laughing matter. I've seen it firsthand. It sucks. So, for me and the guys, we do wish him the best of luck in his fight that he's about to have. But hopefully next week we also get to come back and we get to let y'all have y'all's ears bleed listening to us ramble about wrestling crap. So,
oh, there's one thing I forgot to say.
Oh my gosh.
Dream over.
Oh,
Dream
gosh.
over.
So,
Damn.
for Zane, Jacob, Dustin, and myself, Rob, aka RockRoberts, thank you. And please, like I said, check us out, when you can, where you can, and how you can. Look for us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. Guys, any last words real fast? You got a couple seconds.
Get well, Roman.
Yeah, same here. Get well, Roman.
All right. Guys, thank y'all for showing up on the show. Guys out there, thank y'all for being a part and listening to it. If you commented, thank you. It hasn't went unnoticed. So thank you for all y'all's help. And just enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Thanks.
Peace out.
Send nudes.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Facebook group, The New Brew,